Hi, I'm Bill Wilt of Assured Research. Thanks so much for joining this short video where I'll cover a research note in our February 2024 Assured briefing on the topic of social inflation. It's been a topic for quite some time now. It looks like it will continue to be into 2024. Our research note, as I say, is part of the February Assured briefing, which you'll have if you're a subscriber. Thank you for that, and hopefully you'll find this to be a catalyst to go back and either read or reread the briefing. And if you're not a subscriber, if your company is not, but you enjoy this and find value in it, feel free to reach out to us, and we'd be happy to put you on a trial to our work. So without delay, allow me to get into the presentation. Shouldn't take too long, and we will describe to you how we came to the conclusion that, there we go. There. The conclusion that social inflation in 2023 is largely looks to be about the status quo, neither worse nor better than it's been the last couple of years. That's the overarching conclusion. Now, we got there by reviewing data from a legal analytics database called Verdict Search. Specifically, we reviewed the parameters of about 1,800 cases per year from 2018 to 2023 across the 5 different claim types that you'll see here. The first is motor vehicle liability cases. What you see specifically, and you'll see the same graphs for each of the 5 claim types. Specifically, the blue focuses on the number of disposed cases, so cases that were either concluded by settlement or by verdict or by arbitration. The volume of cases per calendar year, pardon me, split by in the upper left, smaller cases, those that settle for between 50, or at least the initial judgment is for between 50,000 and 1 million. Lower left, from 1 million to 10 million, call it small, medium, and then large in the upper right, cases that settle for somewhere between 10 million and 100 million. The blue here is the volume of cases. The red on the next slide, set of slides, focuses on the median award value. So let's move through the individual observations, and I'll come back and summarize. Motor vehicle cases, and this is a general pattern that you see here, whether on the upper left or lower left. The volume of cases coming through the court system, as represented by this sample set, largely lower in subsequent to the pandemic than it is in the pre-pandemic years, so 20 through 2023, lower. In this case, 2023 compared to 2022, the volume of cases rose a bit. And allow me to say that we certainly recognize, as is described in the research note, that these snapshots into the legal system aren't perfect. There are always some data issues from year to year. We do the best we can to control for those, and as we say in the note, even if we're not presenting a perfect apples to apples comparison, even if those apples aren't themselves aren't perfect, the comparison from one year to the next should be decent. At least it's hoped to be. So there you have it. Lower volume of cases post-pandemic than pre-pandemic. In this case, in motor vehicle, a slight uptick, 23 over 22, kind of makes sense. It's been now a couple of years since economic activity and driving began to come closer to normalizing, and that means a not too dissimilar volume of accidents moving through the liability system. When we look at award values, here too you see a pattern that you're going to see repeated across different case types. Higher, more, just rising more or less steadily from year to year, whether in the small, the medium, or the large. We have to acknowledge that among the large cases, from cases between 10 million and 100 million, there are fewer cases. The credibility of the sample size, I think, could be reasonably questioned, but it's a pretty consistent message, is that the severity of cases continues to march higher. Premises liability cases, and again, you can see in the left-hand scale where the number of cases that are involved in our sample size. Again, lower post-pandemic than pre-pandemic, noticeably lower. In this case, not a big difference between 2023 and 2022. Um, and again, that's a broad pattern. So the frequency, the volume of cases moving through the system, lower than pre-pandemic, not so different across the post-pandemic years, maybe after the snapback from calendar year 2020, but the award values higher. Again, whether the smaller, the medium sized here, the lower left, 1 million to 10 million, not a dramatic upward slope, but it is notable that the award values are back to their pre-pandemic levels. And again, more volatility with the largest awards greater than $10 million, but a generally rising trend. Workplace and workplace negligence actions. Again, I have a broken record here with repeating the pattern of cases down compared to the pre-pandemic levels. In this case, 2023 down a little bit from 2022, but again, here award values steadily higher. Yeah. Two more: wrongful death down. Here, there's a bit of a difference in that 2023 is higher than 2022, but again, both are lower than pre-pandemic levels across all claim sizes. But here you see the sharp upward increase in the median award values, rising severity, as we say. Last, medical malpractice cases. Again, broadly similar pattern as to the volume of cases. I shouldn't say frequency, the volume of cases moving through the court system, and yet here we have the severity rising steadily. So allow me to, I'll use my crib sheet here, so I don't want to miss any of the conclusions that we shared in the note. So social inflation, from this we conclude probably about the same as it's been the last couple of years, characterized by relatively flattish or manageable changes in the volume of cases moving through the system, but steadily rising values associated with those awards associated with those cases. So insurers are basically feeling it in terms of severity, not frequency. Lower legal case disposition rate post-pandemic than pre-pandemic. Now, as an aside, I'll make a note that when we analyze, as we do as part of our year-end reserve study each year, we analyze claim volumes across the industry. And it does appear when you compare accident year 2020, 21, and 2022 claim volumes, it does appear by 2022 that across most lines of business, the volume of claims is not too dissimilar, maybe a little bit lower, but not too dissimilar from pre-pandemic levels. There's a clear kind of normalization going on. If in 2023, and we'll have the chance to look at this in early March when statutory filings become available, if in 2023 claim volumes really began to not only normalize but surpass the pre-pandemic levels, if you have that plus a continuation in the rise of severity, then you do have more of a story of, rather than social inflation being the status quo, we could be talking about it accelerating. So that to be determined. And that really is the, I'll leave it at that, because that gets to the thrust of what we wanted to convey. Status quo-ish for social inflation in 2023. But I think the real risk in 2024 is whether claim volumes fully renormalize and the legal system, which is clearly kind of loosening up now, and I don't think we need to talk about whether there's a giant backlog of claims. Claims are moving through the system, and I think we can start to look again, once again, look at the volume of claims being fed into the system, and if that starts to rise, coupled with these clear trends in rising severity, then social inflation will become a front and center issue once again, as though it's not already. So that's what we have for you. We hope you enjoyed this presentation. Reach out if you'd like to start a trial to our work. Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.